Today in Granny's kitchen we're going to make sherry trifle. I used to work as a student in a hotel and I used to make about 150 of these every Saturday for various weddings. Now this is a very simple trifle and it doesn't have any jelly. So I'm making 6 trifles. I'm using 2 tins of custard, 2 tins of pears, a tub of whipping cream and 2 Swiss rolls. Now the Swiss roll has to be just the jam only, not the one with the cream in it. So as I say, 1 Swiss roll, one tin of custard and 1 tin of pears would probably do about 4 trifles. You can put as much sherry in as you like. So we start off just by cutting our Swiss rolls. And as I say, each Swiss roll does about 3 or 4 trifles. Roughly divide that into 3 different bowls. You don't have to be too fussy about it. That's what you see. It could actually make 8 quite easily because there's quite a lot of Swiss roll here. But it will mash down when I add extra sherry and the pears and the custard. With your tins of pears, you're going to drain off the juice. Food processing the pears, it helps. Sometimes occasionally in a tin of pears you get a really hard one. It's really horrible if that's stuck in the middle of your trifle. I'll just stop it there. Basically it's like puree, but you can at this stage add a little of the sherry, just as much as you want. And you can also add some of the juice if you wish. Basically it's just a simple puree when it comes out and it's soaked in the sherry, so it does give a nice flavour. What we're going to do now is just spoon a little of this mixture into each of those. What you can actually do at this stage as well, if you think the sponge would benefit from this, if you're making it maybe the night before, is just add a little splash of sherry to the sponge first. Again, it's maybe about a tablespoon per trifle, and that can soak in before you add this pear mixture. The more sherry, the more moist the trifle will be. So you're going to then add a couple of spoonfuls of this into all of these. If you have some people that maybe don't like any alcohol, you can miss out the sherry altogether and put in more pear juice. Some people use fruit cocktail, but I much prefer the pears. So basically I've got my pear mixture into my sponge and that will soak. It's better if you can make these the day before because it soaks away nicely. Some people add a few raspberries in it as well, but I mean, I just keep it quite simple just with this pear mixture. So after doing that, you can either maybe add another splash more of sherry if you think maybe it's not moist enough. You'll be able to see just down the side. I can just see it's a wee bit too dry in some places, so I'll just add a little bit of sherry again. Just a couple of spoons of custard on the top. And the beauty of this tinned custard, it doesn't have a horrible skin on it. I'll always have plenty of helpers that'll come and scrape the tins at the end. And the last thing to be done is whip up some whipping cream. I used to use double cream, but sometimes it's a little bit heavy for the trifle and it doesn't pipe very well in the top, whereas whipping cream is just not so dense and it's ideal for the trifles. Right, we're now going to whip the cream, and as I said, I'm using whipping cream, not double cream. I'm just doing a little at the moment because I'm going to just use a couple of these trifles straight away. It's not quite there yet, but don't over whip it. When you begin to see it drying out, that's enough because you want to put it into a piping bag and pipe on top of the trifles. And it's the same consistency you would use if you're making, you know, the Gaelic coffee with the whiskey in it. Whipping cream is ideal for that as well. So I have a piping bag here, one of these plastic ones. You can buy them in various cook shops or online. And I'm using a small nozzle. You can actually use a plastic bag. If you've got a nozzle, you can use a plastic bag for exactly the same purpose. Then you don't need to wash it. Okay, so I'm going to put the cream in there. And it's an absolute perfect texture for piping. And as I say, double cream would dry out much more quickly and it would be very, very thick. And that's why I prefer the whipping cream for trifle. I'll just do one at the moment as an example. Just a very light piping on top of all your trifles. fairly straightforward.